Hey everybody, and welcome back to Gardens and Getaways. My name is Jamie. I am a North Carolina gardener here in Zone 7B. Currently it is September 11th to be exact. What better day to get out in your garden and just find some peace in this crazy world, right? So I just want to go over with you today what I've got going on in my fall garden. I know I haven't really made a video lately. We're kind of like in a transition period, but I wanted to update you. First of all, look at this beautiful dahlia. Like, how gorgeous is that? These things come back every year. Sometimes in Zone 7B, they'll say to dig up the root system for them so that they'll come back. I don't do that because I'm lazy, and they come back for me every year, bigger and better. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's absolutely beautiful. But first, I'm just gonna sit her right there for now. But first I'll go over the first raised bed. This is usually where I normally start, and you may remember in the past we did have zucchini in this bed. I told you that I would be replanting that, which I have done. I've started to tie it up because you may remember from the summer growing my zucchini vertically really proved to be a good option for me. We still have some pretty warm days here in North Carolina, so growing the zucchini vertically, still a good option. Usually not as much pest pressure in the fall, but something has been getting these leaves. But it's one of those things, I had the seeds, I had the space, let me just go ahead and try. And look, we've got some little blooms that'll be coming up on there shortly. Now my main plan for this bed is to do kind of like some lettuces as well as some Brussels sprouts. And previously over the archway there we had cucumbers, but I've actually planted some sweet peas. So you can see these sweet peas are just kind of taking hold of the trellis the same way the cucumbers would, with these little pieces that come off here. These are called tendrils, and you'll see in some areas where they just kind of grab on. There's a good example. Those tendrils will just grab on and continue to grow vertically, which opens up all this space on the ground for you for other things. Stuck in here in other areas, what I do have is some spinach. I did start this from seed, so I've got that coming up in a couple areas. There is another zucchini here. This one doesn't look as good. I may pull it when some other stuff starts to get big, but we'll just kind of see how that goes. I do have a couple different types of lettuce here. I think this one is called Vivian. This is called Tom Thumb, and this is a romaine lettuce. The romaine lettuce didn't come up that great. I direct sowed this, which means I just put the seeds directly in the ground. Since the romaine lettuce didn't really come up that great, what I did instead was put a couple plugs of some spinach plants in there. Spinach do love colder temperatures. Lettuce loves colder temperatures. So fall is the perfect time to get your lettuces, spinach, stuff like that in the ground. It's also the perfect time to get things in the ground that fall into that brassica family or the cabbage family. So you'll see here, these are little baby Brussels sprouts. I will have to come through and thin these. They're planted too close together. This one will be okay by itself, but I did come through and plant a couple Brussels sprouts. Now the zucchini is not going to last as long as it starts to get cool, so I've got Brussels sprouts just kind of tucked periodically throughout here. And you may notice also I have these cosmos. These are a very beautiful, delicate, airy looking flower. These should be orange. I had a bunch spread out through this bed during my summer garden, and those have just volunteered, and I have just let them, and honestly they're looking better now than they did in my summer garden. So hopefully they'll continue to grow and do well. So that's bed number 1. Bed number 2, I do have some stuff that I've left from the summer garden. That dill kind of fell over. It's going to seed. I'm just kind of letting it hopefully drop some seed so that'll come back on its own. This basil has been here the whole time as well. Although it's doing much better now. It was pretty shaded out when I had squash in this bed before, and the squash had gotten so big. This is my eggplant, which has really started to show out since removing the other squash and since getting some more space and sunlight. You can see I've got quite a few beautiful eggplants on here. Their flowers are really pretty too. Now the eggplant does have some damage to it. Do you see all these holes? This is called flea beetle damage. Actually, well, I thought that was them, but those are some ants. And with the ants, though, actually, if you see the little black dots, I don't know if my camera will focus or not, but those are flea beetles. So you know what an ant looks like. But the flea beetle is a round black dot. There's a better picture of one maybe. So that's what causes that damage to the eggplant. But look, this thing continues just to put on new growth. So I have put some granular fertilizer in this bed, as well as used some Fox Farm liquid organic fertilizer, which I think has helped it a lot. And throughout, I've got little cabbages planted that I did start in little start pots. And I have also planted some cabbage seed to pop up as well. This tomato is kind of interesting. So I pulled my tomatoes out. The top of this one broke off, and I have seen where people take a tomato when it's broken and just directly plant the stem in the ground. Because everywhere you have like a little hair on a tomato, I don't know if you can see all these little hairs, but everywhere that you have a little hair like that, that will become a root with the tomato. Actually, hold on, I think I can show you on this other tomato plant that I have. Let's see. So these right here, these lumpy looking nodules, these were little hairs, and they actually try to become roots. So what I did was I just stuck that sucker in the ground, and I said, you want to know what? If something comes of this, great. If it doesn't, oh well, it was going to go in the trash anyways. So just kind of trying something new that I've never tried before. That's what gardening's all about. That's how you learn. That's how you literally grow. But I also have some squash plants. Got some little visitors here, some little spiders. These guys are great for eating bad bugs, so definitely leave them if you can. They're not going to harm you. Got another squash plant over here. So my cabbages are spread throughout, but I did plant some seed as well, because as you can see, something is eating these little guys. So I just wanted to have some other options. So I may have to thin a little bit, but I've got multiple options for the cabbage. Now these are butternut squash. They really do grow better kind of in the summer, late summer. I'm trying them. I know I'm kind of pushing my frost date and having them in the ground here, but they do vine up. So my goal is to send them over this archway here and get some butternut squash. I would really like some for some fall soups, but we'll see if I've got enough time or not. Just kind of doing a little experiment with that. Fall gardening has been hard for me. So I live in North Carolina. Some days it's 80 degrees. Some days it's 50 degrees in the fall. You never know. You never know. Like, we have had Halloweens where my kids are sweating to death in their costumes and, you know, trying to come out of them, or they don't have to wear jackets over their costumes. And then we've had Halloweens where it has been so cold you don't even want to get out of the car to go trick-or-treating. So it's kind of a gamble doing a fall garden, but I've got the space for a lot of this stuff. I already had the seed. So I said, let me just try. I'm going to try. One thing I have added, though, is some grow bags. I would like to add some more metal raised beds, but right now I've just added some grow bags. For these, I have planted some cucumbers. They may make it. I'm hoping that they'll grow up this trellis. I have had success with getting a second flush of cucumbers in the fall, but it's just one of those things that we'll see. Now, in here with it, in case they don't make it in the front, I've got some red Russian kale. Kale is a leafy green that does good in the cooler temperatures. So if nothing else, even if the cucumbers don't make it, this red Russian kale should fill these beds out pretty well, and I should get some harvest from that. So I put 4 more bags up here, and once again, I'm just trying something new, probably testing my time limits here, but it may work out, it may not. This is green bean plants. Once again, I had the seed, so I just put them there, and then I did a singular broccoli start in the middle of each one. So that way, if I did pull the green beans, I would hopefully at least get a broccoli growing there in the middle. Now, onto my third raised bed. This was where I had my watermelons coming over. I had tall zinnias. I hated to pull them out, but I decided I just needed to get my collards in the ground. I did save a lot of seed from those. I left my rosemary. You can see I did cut it back quite a bit, and I am saving some of that inside right now, dehydrating it, but this bush has really just gotten so large. Beside of it, I had a bunch of oregano that was also taken over the bed. So I just kind of pulled everything, but I left the rosemary. I left this, I think this one is called like a blue spice basil. It was very much in the corner. So I said, you know what, it's not taking up a lot of space. I'm going to try to leave it there and see how it does. And then I planted a bunch of collard greens starts. My family absolutely loves collard greens. And if you have ever cooked fresh collard greens, then you may know they do cook down a lot. In order to have enough of a harvest to feed a family of 4, you kind of need a lot of collard greens. Also, in doing it this way, I can kind of do like a cut and come again thing, hopefully. So this entire bed should be collard greens. We love them. They're so delicious. You can see where the dahlias have just taken over. I've tied them up multiple times, but they are still continuing to bloom. And those on the outside of the fence are really pretty too. I just love them. Absolutely love them. This is one of those things that's worth it to plant because you're going to get flowers over and over again from them. Now this is where we had those massive tomato plants that had gotten to be like seriously 6 or 7 foot tall. So what I've done here is I have come in and planted 5 different broccoli seed plants, waiting for those to come up. These chives were already here. They're already looking a lot better, just getting the shade of those tomatoes off. And then this is another basil plant that was very much shaded out by the tomatoes. Like the whole thing kind of looked like that. So you can see where it's bushing out now that we've gotten that out. And then I did 2 rows of bok choy back here. So hopefully that will come up. It's kind of like a Chinese cabbage. Good in stir fries. And my peppers in this bed, they're really still doing pretty good. You may have seen in a previous video where my marigolds had gotten very large and kind of taken over this area. So I pulled them out except for keeping the ones that were hanging over the side. It did not affect them, and they continue to grow beautiful marigolds for us. But the peppers are really doing a lot better now that I've kind of opened up that space for them. Got some chives tucked down in this corner too. I've just come off once already, and literally you'll just hold it up like this, cut straight across, and all of this chop up and put in the freezer. And you've got it. It's the easiest way to preserve something like this. Excuse me. Then I've got some peppers coming on. So it's got some green peppers. This plant unfortunately did break. We had a pretty bad random pop-up storm come through and it broke that off. That had a lot of peppers on it, which made me sad. But the rest of the peppers are coming along good. We've got some banana peppers in here. Also have some jalapeno peppers. So you can see quite a few. That red one is like past the point of needing to be picked. I'll come back out here and get that later. Made some cowboy candy with a bunch of peppers earlier in the season and it turned out wonderful. So pepper bed looking good. And this is the only tomato that I haven't pulled yet, other than that, my experimental tomato over there that I just stuck in the ground. This was my pink brandywine, and it had so many tomatoes coming up on it that I really wanted to just try to give it a chance. However, it's not looking good. It's not. So I'm probably going to pull it. It's in a pot all by itself, and the marigolds around it are also looking fabulous. We have saved so much marigold seed from these, so we've really enjoyed those this year. So that's what I've got going on in the fall garden. That's why I really haven't made a lot of videos. I feel like there's not really a lot to show. I mean, I could show you me sticking a seed in the ground. If you want to see that or have any gardening questions, definitely drop a comment down below and let me know, and I'd be happy to show you. But right now in some spots I just have dirt where I'm waiting for the seed to come up. So that's where we are. Although, in saying that, I said before when I first started my channel that I make these videos to hold myself accountable and remember what I planted. Well, I planted this cabbage here, and then like literally a day or two later, I had all these little seeds coming up. And now, I don't know what this is. So, I guess we'll find out, because it's just one spot, so I know it's got to be something that I planted or sowed, but I don't know what it is. So we'll see. I need to do a better job of writing stuff down and documenting what I'm doing, because I'm like, I won't forget that, and then I do. Another thing I'm doing is refilled my hummingbird feeders, and we have been getting lots of hummingbirds. As I was I heard one fly over my head, which is what made me think about it, but I've really enjoyed it. So that's where we are in this garden. I do have quite a bit going on in my Greenstalk raised bed, so I'll take you up there and show you that. So here is the Greenstalk tower garden. If you're not familiar with these, it is a tower where you have different layers, different pockets, and it's got a watering reservoir up on the top that drips down through all the pockets. So in the bottom layers of this. I do have some carrots planted. I hope I thinned them enough. I did try to come through and thin them, but there's definitely a lot more in here that have popped up. But I've got carrots on the bottom. On the second row, I did do some blue curled leaf kale. It was looking so good, but these little worms are decimating it. I tried neem oil. I'm not a believer in neem oil. I don't think it works at all. I haven't had any success with it, but it's still getting some good growth. So what I've been doing is if I come through and find a really bad piece, oh look, like that right there with a worm on it, or a little caterpillar, whatever you want to call it, I've just been snapping that piece off and just throwing it over there to the chickens. Hey girl, she'll come over and get it. And then on the next level up, I planted some lettuce. I think this is romaine lettuce, I think. Once again, should have documented better what I was doing. So I've got that around that layer. The next layer up, my fourth layer, I do have some Swiss chard, which is another leafy green that is just absolutely gorgeous. I've got some spinach planted in this layer that's coming up. And this is a lettuce that I planted earlier, and it was the only one that really survived. So it's looking pretty good. I think that is the Tom Thumb lettuce again. My parsley plant, I don't know if you saw the video where I came through and kind of amended my soil, replanted some stuff. I saved this parsley plant. It was looking pretty bad, but I had a feeling it would bounce back, and it really has, and it's looking good. I've got cilantro in 2 pockets up here. I've got this creeping thyme that has just come over the side so beautifully. I will forever plant this in the Greenstalk. I think the creeping thyme does really well in here. And then I've got some dill that I did sow pretty heavily. I thinned out a little bit coming through, but I just wanted a bunch to be able to dry out for my pickles next year, because this year I kind of ran out of dill when I was doing my pickles. Not kind of, I did run out of dill when I was doing my pickles. So my goal is to go through and maybe dry some of this in the dehydrator so that I'll have it next year when pickle season comes around. Or if my little cucumbers take off down there in the other garden, then I'll have it. So that's what I've got going on here in the garden in Zone 7B in the fall of 2025 in North Carolina. Let me know what you've planted. I'd love to hear. And I'm not done planting. I'm going to do some more like bok choy, and I'm definitely going to get some garlic in the ground. Usually that's sometime later in October, so I'm trying not to plant it too early, but I'm going to try garlic this year too. So stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know where you're watching from. And thanks for hanging out. Have a blessed day.